In today's episode of Beyond Bitcoin, we look at Ripple, XRP, why it's capitalized at $33 billion, what it's done in the past 10 years, and why we are short sellers. We also discuss tokenomics, what it takes to value the fundamentals of a crypto asset. I hope you enjoy. Good morning. Welcome along to another episode of Beyond Bitcoin. Interesting episode today. We're going to dig down and look at a particular token, possibly not as favorably as you might think we would normally look at it. Welcome along. Hello, Greg Galton. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Derek. How are you?
Yeah, very good indeed. Hey, so Greg, of course, is a research analyst, 20 years in the traditional equities research, great analyst, great analytics. And of course, in this token environment, it actually means that Greg looks at the fundamentals of tokens. You might raise your eyes and go, really, is there fundamentals? What are they? But there are fundamentals in certain tokens. It's not purely momentum. And when you look at the top 30 of the CCI 30, the cryptocurrency index 30, you see all of these tokens there and you think to yourself, these are forever tokens. Not necessarily, because the change of that CCI 30 has been quite substantial over the years. And so every token that sits in that CCI 30 is not maybe necessarily worthy of being there. Who are we to say? But we're going to provide some comment on that today. And so I say for those that love a Ripple token, which is sitting there at number 5 in the CCI 30, maybe you should put your fingers in your ears right now. But seriously speaking, Ripple is a massive capitalized token used for payments, spoken about for the last 10 years. But really, what has it done? And what's its price done? And why hasn't it moved anywhere? And really, is it keeping up with technology? That's what we're going to look at today. What are your thoughts, Greg?
Well, Derek, yes, you're right. Ripple or Ripple Labs, and then XRP, which is the token for Ripple Labs. Important to make the distinction between the two. The XRP token's been listed for 10 years now. It has reached a high of $3.30, but that was way back in 2018. That seems like a lifetime ago for most of us, yes, especially in crypto markets. And it's currently trading around the 60-cent mark at the moment. So, look, it's promised a lot. It's got a very strong community, i.e. the XRP army, so we don't want to upset them too much. But I think it's worth sort of deep diving down at the moment. There's a big C settlement potentially coming, or that'll probably be out by the time this video is released. And we want to talk about what the prospects are for Ripple going forward, what the technology looks like, what some of the challenges, and what are some of the opportunities. So yeah, that's happy to deep dive in.
Terrific. Look, is this important for those that are listening, our listening audience? Yes. This is a highly capitalized payment token that's been talked about for many years now as being able to resolve all payment systems between banks. But during that period of time, we've seen some extraordinary movement in other tokens and other payment systems occur. And so what we're going to look at today is how has it come about that this has been around for 10 years, what the community is like, what's driving it, but also who are the competitors now? And is it still relevant? Anyway, let's go with that, Greg.
So as I said, Ripple Labs and the XRP tokens have been around for more than 10 years now. They developed what's called RippleNet, which is a real-time gross settlement system, a currency exchange and a remittance network. It operates on a decentralized open source protocol that uses its native cryptocurrency, XRP, to facilitate fast and low-cost international payments. Right, so that's the blurb, that's the technological overview. So what Ripple are trying to do is they're trying to get institutional payment providers like banks and money services businesses to use Ripple to help provide a frictionless experience for sending money globally. So competing with the likes of Western Union. They've set up what's called the XRP ledger. That's basically a decentralized cryptographic ledger. Think of it as a wallet that supports instant and low-cost transactions. It's a consensus algorithm, so rather than a proof of work, making it much more energy efficient. And then, as I said before, XRP is the native token. It's used within the Ripple network to provide liquidity for cross-border payments. Now, as everyone is probably aware, Ripple and XRP has faced a huge amount of scrutiny from the SEC I think one of the issues with them being around for so long is very high on the list of the SEC's to get list. And the SEC's enforcement action against Ripple, against XRP, was that XRP was a security. Now, that's really held the price back significantly over the past few years. We did get a ruling. It's actually about 12 months, just over 12 months to the day actually, that we did get a ruling that XRP was not a security, i.e. that any XRP that was sold on exchanges to retail investors was not classed as a security. However, there was a ruling that the XRP sold to institutional investors was deemed to be a security by the court. So what we've seen recently is an expectation of this settlement, the final settlement, hopefully, of that whole process a year after that judgment was made. Now, for those of you that are watching XRP token, it had quite a spectacular price rise earlier this month. The price went from around 40 cents to around 65 cents in expectations of that settlement. That was dashed a little bit by the fact that meeting was pushed back, but it is, we believe, still on track for sometime this week. And in it, I think what we're expecting, or what the market's expecting, is really that there'll be some sort of settlement reached between Ripple and the SEC. It won't require a court order or a court ruling, and there will be some fines and some provisions and some undertakings that they have to go through to determine things. So you've seen a little bit of interest coming through in the XRP token. You've seen a tick up in the number of XRP ledger downloads that we've seen recently. It is still a very large community. So that's creating, as I said, creating a little bit of optimism, a little bit of hope in the market for the XRP token. But just to clarify before I let you back in, Derek, is the people talking about XRP getting back to its high of $3.30, what they don't realize is at the current market cap is around about $33.8 billion. Its peak back in 2018 was about $128 billion. The problem is there's been a 45% increase in the number of tokens on issue since that. That's because XRP sells tokens every month to fund its ongoing activities. So the Ripple Labs sells the XRP token. They also sell it to banks that they partner with and other financial institutions. So that's grown by 45%. But this is the kicker for me. That means there's 56 billion tokens on issue circulating at the moment, but the maximum supply is 100 billion. So we've only just gone past halfway the total number of XRP tokens that will ever be on issue, which means I really don't see XRP going back to $3.30, the high. That would imply about $185 billion market cap. That's 50 billion above the previous peak. That's 1/3 above. I really struggle to see that occurring. You can't discount where this may go in a bull market, but I certainly think from a valuation perspective, people really don't understand about the token issuance, the inflation that's coming through thanks to Ripple Labs, who own the other 45% of the Ripple token, of the XRP tokens out there, and will slowly distribute them and sell them over time.
Sometimes I sense that when I look at the amount of community engagement and the momentum of discussion, that there is a forced position to keep building the price of Ripple. Maybe that's just an assumption, but it is an inflationary token. And if it's an inflationary token, you've got to constantly feed demand for it to be able to be fed out to the market and not adversely impact the value of the token. So I think this is important for people to realize that are out there and following this space, that when you've got a crypto asset, there are a set of tokenomics that are associated with it. And when you look at the likes of Ripple, it is an inflationary product. Whereas you look at the likes, by example, of Ethereum, it's a deflationary product. And you're seeing less tokens over a period of time. And that being the case, this capitalization of 33 billion is very high. And I ask the question, outside speculation, Greg, why is a payment token truly worth $33 billion? Because all it does is facilitate payment. Have I missed something?
That's the $33 billion question, Derek, isn't it? There's a lot of support. There's a lot of support for XRP and what Ripple are doing in terms of partnerships. Now, they've partnered with American Express. They've partnered with Santander. They've partnered with SBI, which is the Japanese financial services institutions. But partnerships are just that. They're partnerships. They're what they basically are. And you've seen it as well in the tech sector. It's we like your tech, you like our tech. Let's get into the sandbox. Let's try and get the tech talking to each other. Let's have a bit of a play around and let's see if we can create something. Now, when Ripple was created, and RippleNet was created 10 years ago, there wasn't anyone else that was doing payment rails or cross-border payments on blockchains. The technology has advanced so rapidly, especially in the last 5 years, where you've got a number of chains that are looking at that. I can think of Algorand as one, Hedera Hashgraph as another. Look what Solana are doing with Visa and PayPal, the stablecoin. I really see Ripple as really having lost their competitive advantage. They really haven't been able to take advantage of that and cement some major relationships in with some major banks. JP Morgan are doing things with their own private blockchain. So Ripple, for me, really has failed to deliver. I think the technology has now caught up and surpassed Ripple's technology. And I think it doesn't deserve to be in the top 10, I don't believe, by market cap, on the basis of just simply payment rails. Yes, look, payment rails are very important, but SWIFT, the current banking system, they're not standing still either. They're developing and growing as well and looking at alternatives to speed things up and make things better. And maybe they go down the blockchain route. Maybe they partner with XRP, unlikely, but maybe they partner with Hedera or one of the other blockchains. Maybe they partner with Quant. QNT. There's a lot of different options out there now for people to go with. I just can't see Ripple sustaining this current market cap. Now, there's a lot of hype. There's a very strong community, as I said, the XRP army that are continuing to be believers. But I think sometimes you need to stand back, look at the big picture, look at the macro, and so it's just one of many now when it was one of one. And it didn't really ram home that advantage. It's I think one to be cautious of in the current environment. It can still have pretty significant price spikes. So it's great to trade. I'm just not sure I would wanted to have held it since 2018. I would have been much better off buying and holding Bitcoin over that period. Yeah, I guess it's a bit of a warning to new investors to really focus on those tokenomics. That's one of the key differences from analyzing cryptocurrencies, than it is from analyzing companies and shares and stocks. It has a really dramatic impact on how things are valued and where they can go forward on that valuation. So it's certainly worth keeping that in mind when you're looking at Ripple. I guess one of the other things to update with them, and they are just a payment system, but they are looking at getting into the real world assets, the RWA area. They've done a partnership with Axelar. That's interesting. Real world assets are a huge opportunity, but they are one of many players in that particular space as well. I see that as a nice little icing on the cake for Ripple. Whether they're able to really succeed there as well, I really don't think that they will. But yeah, interesting. You always have to keep an eye on it because it is so large, can be quite volatile, and it can impact performance. So. That's really, in a nutshell where we sit with it. We just really can't see the value there. We just don't think that they've proven the technology. They haven't jumped on that advantage that they had, and we just think there's far too much factored into the price, and it's more of a technical trading token than it is a fundamental position.
Very good. So maybe a little insight into how you approach a token and how you review it from the very first view of the token and how you look at the tokenomics. How do you get to a view of not necessarily giving it a valuation, but giving it a view that it's going forward or backwards price-wise or engagement?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and I guess it's at the core of what an analyst does. It's looking at the market opportunity. It's trying to understand the tech. It's understanding how the incumbents may act and may position themselves to defeat this new technology in specific cases. It's trying. I'm not a developer. I don't write code, but I can get other people to look at the underlying code for me and give me an opinion on that, and then I can piece that together with what I see as the market opportunity and how that might fit in, and then obviously understanding what other competitors are using, both in Web 2 and the Web 3 world. And then that really all comes together to try and work out what the business model is, whether we think it can make any money going forward. All these businesses are losing money at the moment, but that's never been in the front of a bad investment. Think Amazon very early on and Facebook very early on, and Uber. They weren't making any profits. It was all reinvested in the business. Look, that didn't hurt the stock price performance. So that's really what we're focused on at the moment. Hard to value these things. Also, you don't want to cap the upside in a lot of these tokens, because we know in a bull market things can go pretty parabolic. So there's other things that we can use to estimate where things can get to. But it is nice to have a fundamental floor on a token and some base case and some very bullish expectations. Gives us a range that we know we can work within and what our expectations will be for a token. And then, tokenomics is just a very important part of the whole process. It's basically the dilution that you're going to suffer as being a holder in the token, and whether you're prepared to accept that or not, or whether if you think the opportunity is so great that the dilution is overcome by the appreciation in the price. That's really the driving factor. Or in the case of Ripple, if you bought it at $3.30 in 2018, you've been pretty heavily diluted. Plus, the price action has been negative downwards. It's a very difficult thing to assess quantitatively. It's a qualitative overlay and a sort of taking a view on what's out there. Yeah.
Okay, so we know that our stance on Ripple is broadly we're short on Ripple. And that's our view of it going forward over a longer period of time. Might not be short for 2 weeks as far as that goes, but short for a long period of time. And so, if that's been the case, then what do you think are the most effective tokens that, in fact, already and will continue to provide the same solution as a payment token?
There's so many. I talked about some already in terms of Algorand and Hedera. I think Solana, just the partnership with Visa and Pay. I think don't underestimate what Swift will do especially with the incumbents. Even Ethereum, and then even Bitcoin, the L2, the Lightning Network, as a peer-to-peer transfer of wealth, is still very effective and very cost effective. I have a friend that runs a crypto brokerage in the UK. His predominantly, the bulk of his clients are migrants living in the UK that buy Bitcoin and send it back to their family in various parts of the world. They've given up using Western Union and all these other money transfer companies because they are prohibitively expensive, and they're just simply using the Bitcoin network. And then also the Lightning Network as well. So there's still a P2P case for Bitcoin. It's still being used. So I think so many competitors out there that are potentially offering something. It's just the payment rails, and I just don't think XRP or Ripple Net really stands out in any way, shape, or form. I think they should have done a lot more with what they have by now to justify this valuation.
Interesting. Okay, so one thing to finally sum this up, and that is that often for a first-time listener of cryptocurrency and this world to try and learn about it, they just think that all cryptocurrency is just currency. It's just a payment system. Whereas we know that the realm of cryptocurrency represents payment systems, it represents decentralized finance solutions, it represents stores of wealth and value and transfer of wealth, etc. As long as a token is reasonably stable, like as in stable for minutes, and has a secondary marketplace and can be swapped, converted, etc., virtually any token can be a payment token. Is that not correct?
Yeah, payment to external apps, yes, but it's when you're using your own application that you use your own token. So if I want to buy a token on Jupiter, which is on the Solana network, and Jupiter's an aggregated marketplace, I can use USDC to buy a particular token, but I will be paying the gas fee in Solana. The same with Ethereum. If I want to transact on Uniswap, I'll be paying in Ethereum. That's one of the issues I have with Cosmos, is that Cosmos and the interconnected network that they put together there didn't specify that Atom needed to be paid as the gas fee. So you just pay the gas fee in whatever, and typically in Osmosis tokens, if you're using the Osmosis app to transact. So that's the perspective that we mean as a form of currency, is that's how you pay for the gas on the ecosystem that you're using. And that's the more, I guess that's the harder definition of it.
Very good. All right. Thank you so much, Greg, for that insight. And just for everyone listening, once in a while, we're going to do deep dives into tokens so that you can get an insight both in why that token exists, why it's priced as the way it is priced, and really what else is there to look at in the market as far as investable tokens and commodities. Hope you've enjoyed this. Look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy. Look after yourself. May the market go up. Bye for now, Greg.
So yeah.